Hey, YouTube. Okay, just a little housekeeping. The route I added last time to force traffic onto the contra lane was preventing traffic from spawning toward the silos and preventing actual usage of the roundabout, so is replaced by a T-intersection permitting all routes concerned. A roundabout solution. Yeah, we know. How did I miss that? I guess I'm just in the swing of organising complex routes. Alrighty, the amount of available gerbs is too damn high. It has come to my attention that utility buildings create gerbs, so I guess that explains it. But seriously, 2,300, I just don't know anymore. This episode focuses on population growth to try and fill the vacancy, basically just plopping a bunch of residential, stopping short of filling totally as I refuse to allow Main Beach to grow any larger at this point. Plus I ran out of time. What's that? Main Beach? Oh yes, I named the suburbs now that there are too many of them to reference simply as the place near so-and-so. The Main Beach metropolitan area refers to all suburbs in this conglomerate, the suburb of Main Beach itself adjoining this stretch of coast. Along the coast on either side are Ridgegrave and Marsh Cove. Then we have Beach Bank, currently the CBD, and Dry Bank, extending to Sandwich Hill to later be referred as Upper or Lower. Lastly, our utility areas, Catchment Plant, The Dump, Wharfside and Channel Gully. And the dam, we'll get there. Not quite the growth pattern I had in mind, but once all the gerbs are filled, gradualism should be restored. Laying the roads. First I finish up the remnant farms I never liked, before breaking land at Sandwich Hill, utilising a gap in the slope for a highway connection. The highway is broken into straighter segments, to which can the connection more cleanly attach, a common endeavour in the curvy suburban roads throughout. With topographic view enabled, roads follow the circumference of the hill, proving sufficiently steep at times to cause roadside terrain to protrude and or deplete the grade, requiring to be softened at the edges as I go. Easily enough terraformed into capitulation, more uncertain is the potential for further extrusion when the buildings to which the road aspires manifest, especially where segmentation is narrow. For this purpose, small blocks, here no wider than 2 units, seem appropriate, inadvertently prompting selection of a new set of residential buildings to characterise the area while trialling the road layout. Notably, in spite of the small block size, some of the chosen pool resemble higher, multiple dwelling, capacity homes, closer in character to apartments/units than rural-ish homes. Or at least, due to the small block size, higher density among buildings is difficult to avoid. The catchment key extends with the unfulfilled expectation that the land area increase will harbour more residential, though it fulfills the general plan for this river to be totally keyscaped in future. Attempting to form a somewhat grid, I realised there just isn't enough room for anything but noodly suburban-style roads, without significant landscaping here. Here, denoting the boundary for development as a dirt road indicates ensuing scarcity, its only purpose being linkage to a radio tower at the hill crest. Road borders the river, removing the previously too steep connection to underpass the bridge before curving more gradually up the slope. Oh, and the boundary of development does continue at the lower extent of the hill, the furthest extremity placed in favourable straits to continue yet further when the time comes. Finally, highway is not so highway now that these roads are distinguishably part of the urban area. Extension of the other quayside, more than compulsive symmetry, though absolutely that. The resulting ridge is zoned for future industry application, as we all know how much industry loves open water sources in this series, for whatever reason. Industry roads demark for the extent of the catchment, leaving the Marsh Cove Plateau bare for residential, connection to which spawns from the highway and proceeds from Main Beach development. The plateau side is spared from development quite generously, overall a bit of a messy layout. Trying not to spend too much time here as the greater main beach area is likely the first point of major redevelopment anyway, when the island runs out of space. Occupying the remaining vacant coast of Main Beach with an estate-style enclosed road, grid dissipates seamlessly from town centre to suburbs, if I don't say so myself. And I do. North Bank High. Too bad it's actually called Beach Bank, since location is more reliably indicated to viewers by landmarks than orientation I've imagined in my head. Town library across the road, and this centrepiece sports field. Sports field, not for any particular reason, except this asset was most suitably sized. With a second building, this school is superfluously large for current population, but as with the primary school, I encourage commuting. Ridgegrave-bound traffic circumvents, one possible destination being a car park affording beach access, the rest comprising more suburban fillerware. Placing the buildings. Adding a few new buildings to my beach theme repertoire, disabling terrain conformity allows Laguna Beach-esque cliff-homery. Nice abstract noun. I'm deviating from low-income rural home fare earlier than I would like, but I have limited options. Palms help force the beach meme, and I'm much more satisfied with my residential flora this time around, trying for bright and spongy. Not hideously disgusting. As always, forestry fence equals yard fencing, yard size accounting for pretty high density. Again, advancing from rural faster than anticipated, excitedly so. A telling facade for the high school as prison-like barbs surround, and some pine trees in the corner for normie congregation tactics. Much larger properties in budding Ridgegrave, larger still as we reach the outskirts, with some nicer homes on the cliff. He's the richest man in town. Okay, Lighthouse Cove, what do you want from me? This whole placement thing is monotonous. Thank you for shaking things up, Plateau Side Walking Track. Now here's some people who value their waterfront views. I give it a 5 out of Sydney on the I value my waterfront view scale. It doesn't feel right placing these low socio homes on the upper ridge, but I can let it go on the basis that Main Beach is still small enough for people not to know any better. With public school comes public housing. Sandwich Hill, you're a menace. The potential for premature density really gets out of hand here, but first, how about this system for nice hillside shrubbery? As I was saying, I select some structures to surround the already laid test area with matching funky apartments, planning to designate only a very small area as funky, but like I said, things get out of hand, and man, that is dense. This area will probably resist gentrification more enduringly than others. A walking track consoles the lacking residential fulfillment of the quayside, with another track providing a shortcut to the bridge. Unique, darker foliage serves to solidify the funky atmosphere around these parts, though the riverfront deviates, an upscale venture supported by townhouses, pontoon homes and private hillside mansions. The desert has low land value, and traced by Waste Dump Canal, this neighbouring section of Drybank is mostly unit complexes. I like how these ones are terraced. Reaching the development boundary, larger property size is restored and foliage once again bright and spongy. Hello Main Beach. Traffic looking like a real small town. Tastier and tastier. Yep, that's a high school, educating the poops. I guess uni comes next. And I know it's odd that Main Beach stole the crown of denomination of the whole metropolitan area when Beach Bank is the CBD, but just you wait. Ridgegrave, stating the name and capturing the cemetery in the foreground so people get the idea. And Marsh Cove, it's a cove, there's a marsh, what more do you want? This area will look cool when the industry zone is occupied. Dense though it is, I don't think any other formation could more have accentuated the gentle grade of Sandwich Hill. And Drybank dropping to villas and private jetties, that's just classy. Hopefully soon I can finally get around to those farms I've been yakking about since I started this series. I don't think it will be too long before there is no empty space left, giving way to ruthless demolition amid all against all rat race. For the good of the land, of course. That's all, thanks for watching, and goodbye forever. With public school comes public housing, a home for the flat people.